Hi, thanks for joining me. I'm Wendy from Dream Something New, and I am going to show you how to make a giant candy necklace out of pool noodles, paint, and scissors. Super easy project. This is one video in a series of several on how to make giant candy decorations that you can use for Christmas or Halloween for a trunk or treat or candy themed birthday party. So if you're doing one of the above and you need to make lots of giant candy, please check out my series. My blog is on my website, or you can see all the videos on my YouTube channel. So this one, again, this is on the very simple, very easy candy necklace. All right, let's get started with our materials. First thing you're going to need is some pool noodles. The amount of noodles that you use is really going to depend on how long you want your candy necklace to be. Using a half a noodle per color, it will yield a pretty good sized candy necklace. This one here that I had used as the example to show you, this is just one noodle's worth. I'm going to use 3 this time, cutting each noodle in half and making one of the 6 colors. That way you can get all 6 colors in, because most candy necklaces have between 5 and 6 colors in them. You can kind of play with it. There's really no science to any of this. You're going to need some sandpaper, a really rough grit. This is an 80 grit, a cardboard for measuring tape. I've made myself 1 1/4 inch little guide here. Pair of scissors, serrated knife. It does not need to be this big. I just like this one. It chops through really good. What is important is that the edge is serrated. Something to strain your candy on when we're finished, and some paints. Candy necklaces tend to be mostly pastel colors. Common is a pink. I'm going to be making a pink because I didn't have one. A light orange, pastel yellow. Again, I'm going to be mixing that. Light blue and a purple is what I've chosen. Have fun with it. Kind of play with whatever colors you want. White is also usually seen in a candy necklace, just plain white. So anyways, first thing first, take your noodle, take your sandpaper. We don't need this big giant piece. I recommend doing this outside. It will make a little bit of a mess. I'm going to show you at my table how to do it, and then I'm going to take them outside and do the rest. We're going to rough up the whole outside of the noodle. It doesn't need to be super, super rough, but it'll take the paint a lot better if you get that shiny coating off. So when you first look at a pool noodle, it has a little bit of a plastic shine to it. Let me see if I can get it close to the camera to show you. The sandpaper takes that shine off, and it makes it just a touch furry as well. Or furry feeling. I suppose it's not really furry. So we're going to do this to all the noodles until they're nice and roughed up, and then we're going to come back and paint them. All right, we're back. We've got our noodles all sanded, ready to go. Next thing, I'm going to go ahead and just cut these in half, just because that's how much I'm going to be using for each color. Doesn't need to be perfect. Anything close. Here we go. All right, that made a nice rough edge. No good. Fix that. That's ugly. Okay, now time to paint. Whew, I really made that one ugly. Lost a whole ring. Don't fold it in half and cut like that. That wasn't very smart. Okay, half a noodle. We're going to go ahead and put some paint on these noodles. Before you do this, you want to make sure you have somewhere to put these when they dry. Something ideally that will fit inside of them. You can stick them over, maybe put them on a stick and put them in your lawn. I, by my fireplace, have a nice little tool set, and these fit perfectly over the handles, and I can just stick them in the air. But you are going to have wet painted tubes that need to dry, so before you paint them, think about where you're going to put them. The other thing is I tend to leave myself a short little handle at the bottom that's unpainted so that I can handle it a little bit easier. You want to get the paint on pretty thick. Not too thick that it just cracks off, but thick enough that it's getting into those little cracks and filling the noodle in. So so we're gonna go ahead and paint these noodles and set them up to dry and come back to it. And when all of your noodles are painted and ready, it's time to cut them into the candies and get ready to paint them again. All right, we're back. We've painted all the noodles and now we need to cut them. I have a guide that has 1 1/4 inch marks on it. I'm gonna go ahead and cut all of these noodles into rings, and then we will come back and cut each of those rings into a candy. Now that we've cut all the noodles into our little rings, it's time to cut the candy edges. Taking your scissors, you're going to go to about a 45-degree angle. And as smooth as possible, cut all the way around the edge. Doing the same on both sides. It's going to give you that candy shape. And since we've painted them, you're going to see pretty clearly how straight you've managed to actually cut the rim. You don't need to fix them, but if you're meticulous like I am, we'll try and make them all straight. So we're going to go ahead and cut all of these, and when we're done, then we have to go back and paint the tops and bottom. Up to this point, pretty much everything's been pretty fast. Painting the sides of these, it's going to take a little time. It's not hard, it's just that we've now made 18 rings for each of our 6 colors. So it's just pure and simple, a lot of rings to paint. I'm going to go ahead and finish all of these and come back with all my rings cut. So we've cut all the noodles, and now it is time to paint the tops and bottoms of every one of these little candies. So there's 2 ways of doing it. One, you can be nice and slow and methodical and keep your fingers clean and get through them in, I don't know, a few hours or so. Or you could do it the way I choose to do it, which is to allow the paint to get on my hands and just go ahead and kind of go at them quickly. Get them done. Paint my fingers in the process, but it's okay because I wash. So I want to get them covered, and I will take the time to make sure that they're completely covered, especially because I'm using green noodles and I really don't want the green to show through the pink. We're going to get these covered. And when I have painted all of these little candies and let them dry, then all we have to do is come back and string them. So, like I said, this step takes some time. I'm doing it as quick as possible, and it still takes some time. But go ahead and paint all your candies, let them dry, and we will come back to put them on a string. Okay, I am back. My noodles are all painted. They've had a chance to dry, and now it's finally time to string these candies up and get done. I could put them in rainbow order. I tend to think that that's a little bit too symmetrical, so I just kind of shift them up. I have 3 colors in each of my 2 bowls here, and I'm simply going to start stringing them. You can use any string that you have laying around. I happen to have some leftover elastic from making COVID masks, and it does a pretty good job as a center for a candy necklace, especially because candy necklaces in reality are stretchy. So I'm just going to go ahead and start stringing the candies on the necklace like this. And when we got them all strung, we can tie it off. So I have strung my noodle candy bits onto my string. tied my elastic in a knot. It's lost in here somewhere. There's a knot. Anyways, it is just a simple knot, but because it's elastic, as soon as I tied it, oh, there it is. Just a simple knot tied in there. Let's pull it tight. I'll cut the extra off. And now I have a giant candy necklace that I can put outside on my gingerbread house. I want to let you know this piece that we're looking at here, this is only half of the noodles that I painted. I divided it in two because I'm making two separate candy necklaces to hang outside for my gingerbread house. So I hope you enjoyed this project. Please let me know if you try it, how it goes for you in the comments. I would love to hear from you, and happy crafting.